welcome everyone. If you're just joining in, thank you for coming on your Saturday to the Masters of Health Science and Translational Research Program Information Session today on February 7th. My name is Jordan Crawford. I'm the Program Officer for TRP, and I'll start off with just a brief overview of what we'll be covering this morning. So we're going to start off with a land acknowledgement. We'll introduce ourselves as who we have here on the call from our TRP team. We'll go over what is translational research, the program requirements, fees and funding, mentorship and community, application requirements, events and engagement opportunities with us here at TRP, and then we'll hold some time at the end for a Q&A. We wish to acknowledge this land in which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have this opportunity to work on this land. Okay, so we've heard us talk already at the start of the session. Again, my name is Jordan. I work closely with my colleague, Julie Wei. We are the administrative team here at TRP. I'll be here to answer some questions and also go through the presentation with you all. Joseph, would you like to go next?
I would. Thank you very much. My name is Joseph Behrenbach. I'm one of the faculty here at the program. As I just put in my comments, I'm coming to you live from Future Cafe and Bakery this morning. So bear with me. There seems to be a very loud individual right in front of me. I will try and be attentive and mute myself so as to not be disruptive. I am responsible, or usually am responsible for contributing to the foundations course. I also work with a course called Rhetoric, which is really the persuasive communication in sciences. And I work with Anita and the other faculty on capstones and mentorship and supervision around the projects that you do in your second year. A little about me.
Rita?
So what Joseph didn't say is that he also started this program 10 years ago. We just had our 10-year anniversary this past September. So that's how long we have been around. My name is Rita Marcorn. I'm the program director now for TRP. My background is really in research. So in my previous life, I did, and I still do a little bit, work in proteomics, transcriptomics, and genomics. And then I moved into more of a teaching position. So at TRP, I do mainly foundations and the capstone course. So the second year of your TRP experience, where I run the course, and then all the faculty members, including Joseph, Gilbert, and Nayana, we serve as supervisors for your capstone project. That's it.
Would you like to get us started on the overview of translational research?
Okay, so this was the question that was asked. So yes, traditionally, it used to be that translation was considered moving research or moving discoveries that were done in the lab into the clinic. Right now and in the past, I don't know, a decade or so, it really got expanded into really anything. So what we think of a translational research is really knowledge to action. So it's moving insights not only from research, but also from clinical observations and also from lived experiences into practical solutions that can improve health outcome, health skill delivery, and patients' experiences. So, social determinants of health are big issues currently. And that they do greatly affect health outcomes as well. So working, addressing like population needs, patients' needs, clients' needs, in terms of, or even clinic efficiency is also part of a translational research. what we consider translational research. There's many different definitions. So we look at it as evidence-based problem solving. So basically applying scientific rigor and data-driven methods to design, test, and evaluate interventions that address real healthcare needs. What differentiates our program from many other kind of innovation entrepreneurships program is that we do not start with an innovation, we start with a need. So what is the need? Is the need to address loneliness, for example, in seniors? Is the need to address clinical efficiency in, heart clinics at UHN, which, a couple of capstone projects that we had previously? Is the need to have new diagnostic device for heart attack or etc., or some of these things? So we start with a need. And then we go into consultations with the stakeholders. So contextual inquiry with various people to see if this is really the need and what do people actually want. And then we go into design something that's wanted by those that you're working for. So one of the main questions that we ask during this process is who are you doing it for? For the patients, for the clinicians, it could be anybody, right? In order to improve health outcomes. And then it's testing, implementation, evaluation and monitoring, and interventions. This is not a linear pathway, which is what Joseph teaches in projects. It's not a linear pathway. You go back and forth. It's a very iterative process. What you learn in step 3 might actually have to go back to step 1 or 2 in order to address it. So we do those by really having, so not only do we start with a need, but we also do these projects with the people. So it's a co-design process with the people that you are doing it for. So if you're doing it for patients, if you want to improve healthcare outcomes for patients with a particular interventions, you actually do talk to patients and to make sure that this is something that they actually want. It's a skills-based learning, which means that you learn by doing. So by doing the capstone projects, you learn different skills. And this project, this program is based on competencies. So what we evaluate is what we want you to improve, what we want you to get out of the program is these skills that are listed here. So persuasive communication, creative problem solving, accountable self-management, productive collaborations, and knowledge mobilization. Of course, you're going to get many different skills during that time, such as, qualitative study design, quantitative study design, etc., project management skills. But these competencies, as we call them, these skills are transferable. And basically, you can use them in any professional settings that you will then move on to. So why should you join TRP? So we, from our perspective, we are looking to, we want to help you develop yourself both professionally and personally. So grow and develop. We want you to be able to make a difference. So like I said, from our perspective, translation is knowledge to impact. So you want to make sure you want to teach you how to make a difference in the world. How we want you to learn and engage. We often say that this program you get at TRP, whatever, you get as much as you put in. So it's kind of a self-learning based program where really the more you engage, the more you participate, the more you find things for you to do and engage with, the more you're going to get out of it. And Joseph and I, when we do interviews, we often, some students will ask us, what are you looking for in people that apply to TRP? And really what we're looking for is motivation and open-mindedness for everything. That goes to be curious. Be curious, ask questions, engage is kind of our motto. So program requirement. Jordan, are you gonna talk about it or?
Well, yeah, I can take it from here. So TRP is a 2-year Masters of Health Science program in Translational Research. We are situated in the Department of Laboratory Medicine and Pathobiology in the Temerty Faculty of Medicine at U of T. The program is 5 sessions full-time. This does include the summer term. Students will complete a total of 8 full course equivalencies or FCEs, which we'll go into in more detail in a moment. Classes are concentrated primarily to 2 days a week. Our campus is located at St. George, which is downtown Toronto. Classes are on Tuesdays and Thursdays and typically run from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. There are a number of core courses or required courses our students must take over the first and second year of the program. In the first year, our students will take foundations, projects, rhetoric, and methods. Projects is the prerequisite to start their capstone project in the second year of the program. Joseph, would you like to speak to some of the core courses?
Sure, I'd love to. So the core courses are sort of intended to be a scaffold where they kind of work together to first introduce you to concepts, hopefully work on mindset, and also then help you mull over the problem or the area that you really want to focus in on, and then propose your project. So foundations gives you a sort of breadth of overview on the many pathways to innovation, whether it's clinical innovation, device innovation, quality improvement, or other kinds of innovation, not necessarily commercialization, but it could be improving protocols, it could be improving policy. We're a big platform, so we give you an overall view. It's really, really a bird's eye view. And the idea is that once you have a bird's eye view, there will be sessions that are interest you, for example, maybe drug development. And then you can take modules or electives that will help you refine your interests in those areas. But the foundation course gives you a big overview. The next core course that you take is project. And in projects, ironically, you do projects, but that's not really the focus. The focus is on how to go through the translational research framework in order to apply it to be able to prepare you for your capstones in the second year. The next sort of core course is communication. And you'll find that everything we do involves communication, convincing people for grants, convincing people that what they're doing in the hospital or in the clinic is important, getting people to follow up with rehab. Persuasive communication is one of the key sort of competencies that we like to think of as necessary to get any kind of knowledge translation happening. And then finally, the fourth core course is the methods course. And that actually, once you have an understanding of the area you're interested in, the kinds of questions or problems you want to tackle, then you need to be able to pick protocols or ways of doing it that are rigorous and systematic in order to scientifically apply evidence to be able to improve the situation. So the methods course gives you an overall sort of survey of both qualitative, quantitative, and design quality improvement methods. So back to you, Jordan.
Great, thank you. So in addition to the core courses that Joseph was speaking to, TRP students must also enroll in 8 modular courses throughout the duration of the program. Modules are 6 weeks in length, and they are a quarter FCE each, and students have the option to choose which modules they would like to take. Modules help expand on a particular topic or skill. So TRP offers modules in project management, leadership, networking, health policy, and innovation, just to name a few. Our students are also required to complete 1 FCE in elective courses. Electives are at a graduate level and offered outside specifically of TRP. And we recommend that students complete this in their second year of the program to better support their capstone project research. In the second year of the program, our students start working on their capstone project. Dr. Marcron is the instructor for that course. Would you like to speak to capstone?
Sure. So for the capstone for the second year, if you have taken all the electives and all the modules in the first year, then really for the second year, you are focusing on your capstone. Many of our students actually leave electives to the second year, or at least the summer and the first part of the second year, because then they can take, electives that are actually applicable better to their capstone project. But basically, you really only have we have meetings or workshop once every 2 weeks, where teams, the capstones, most of the capstone projects are done in teams, so teams will come and they will present updates to the class to get peer feedback. We really put a lot of impact on peer learning in this program, and that's why when we choose a cohort, we look for diversity of experiences, diversity of culture, diversity of different perspectives and skills, because we want students to learn from each other. So we provide those updates to the class such that other students can provide feedback and ask questions. And then it takes about 8 to 12 months. So you choose, like Joseph said, you choose your own project. We do have people coming to class. So, we have case studies in foundations where you're going to be working on different projects. We have discussants coming to class. We have various events going on. We have people that do want to collaborate with us, come to class and present an idea for a project. But the big difference is that this capstone project has to be a student-based project. So you choose, we're not going to tell you what to work on. We can provide some ideas, but you choose your own healthcare need and the people that you're going to be working with. And you have about 8 to 12 months to complete. So generally it starts from about May of the first year and goes on till maximum of August of the year after that. You have, I mentioned this previously, Joseph and I, Nyana and Gilbert, who are not here, will be serving as your capstone supervisors from TRP. So we divide projects between each others, among ourselves. And you'll also choose your own capstone advisors. That would be people that you work with that have subject matter expertise. So, Joseph and I have, and same with other people, we have experience in translation. I have also experience in scientific research. Nyana has experience in entrepreneurship and bringing new devices to the market. And Gilbert has a huge expertise in health policy. He is a lawyer, a law degree, and he has been working with provincial and federal government writing health policy for many, many years, right? So we have a variety of experiences, but if you want to do specific, but we don't really have that subject matter expertise where you work. So if you want to work with kidney transplants, or you want to work with hepatitis C, or you want to work with mental health or etc., we may not. So that's why you choose your own 3 advisors on top of us. And we have meetings every 2 weeks with us and every month with the advisor. So it's a little complicated, but again, that's your focus and that's what you're focusing on during the second year. So it's really not, it may sound overwhelming, it's not.
Okay, thank you. So fees and funding for TRP, the domestic tuition fee is $10,550 per year. The international tuition fee is set to $43,940 per year. I'd just like to say that these fees may be subject to change. There may also be additional ancillary fees for enrollment, so we always encourage our students to refer to ACORN for the most up-to-date fees and payment schedule. There are a number of funding opportunities TRP students are eligible for. The first being an internal program award called a TRP bursary. So once students are accepted into the program and registered, domestic students are eligible to apply for a number of needs-based TRP bursaries. There is an application every September, and both first year and second year students are eligible to apply. There are also two primary scholarships our students applied to, the first being the Canada Graduate Research Scholarship Masters. The deadline for this is December 1st, and domestic students are eligible to apply. The second is the OGS, or the Ontario Graduate Scholarship, which recognizes academic excellence in graduate studies. Both domestic and international students are eligible to apply. I encourage anyone who's interested in applying to refer to our website on more details on the eligibility criteria for both of these scholarships. There are also a variety of University of Toronto graduate awards that are circulated to our students throughout the academic year. Adita already spoke to some of this, but the unique thing about TRP is the different levels of mentorship you receive here during the program. The first being peer-to-peer and the collaboration among students. Our cohort is relatively small, typically around 30 students in each group, and you'll all have the opportunity to work through those 2 years of the program together. Our students have a diverse background in academics and also their professional experience, and students get the opportunity to share those experiences and build their own community. There are also faculty members, which we've spoken about already, which are assigned to students for academic and project development support, so their capstone projects, but as well as career and skill building. Students in our program have what's called an individual development plan, which the student will set some personal and professional goals during the first year of the program, and then will work with their academic advisor throughout the program to better achieve those goals. There's also the opportunity to work with field experts on their capstone project. Dita spoke to it briefly, where our students go and recruit their own project advisory committee of field experts. So they share industry insights. It's also the opportunity to network with those experts, and they provide real world perspective on their projects. I would say the students and staff here at TRP really make up a really close community. There are student-led groups, social events, mentorship opportunities, and shared spaces to help our students connect. Our students have created their own podcast, a social group dedicated to giving back, sports teams, or even just exploring the city together because they really love coffee. So there's definitely room here to build a community at TRP that feels like yours. Would Joseph or Edita like to speak to career pathways?
Sure, I'd love to. So as Ajita had mentioned previously, we don't really look for a specific student type because a lot of the education is self-directed, which means that we help support you through individual development plans for whatever career paths that you choose. So many of our students end up in very different places. People go into industry, people go into clinical practice, people go and get more education, other master's or PhD programs. We also have people that go into med school or finish their residency or do fellowships. That is if they're not already like mid-career clinicians or hailing career clinicians. So the outcomes and the career pathways are really about what you want to do. And we are a platform to help support you and get you to your next step in your career development. Back to you.
I'd also like to talk about studying in Toronto. So Toronto is known for its diversity, so your classroom experience doesn't stop while you're on campus. So outside of class, there's always something happening. Festivals, food from everywhere in the world, live music, neighborhoods to explore. There's also career opportunities across healthcare, technology, research, startups, etc. So when you're thinking about a program, you're not just choosing your courses, but you're also thinking about a city and a community that will shape your experience. TRP is located on the St. George campus, which is central to the city and has great proximity to hospitals, research institutes, and industry. Okay, so I'll just go over the application requirements to TRP. To apply to the program, you will need to submit an online application through the School of Graduate Studies portal. There are a number of requirements for the application, the first being a letter of intent, around 500 words, your CV, resume, unofficial transcripts, including the grading scale at the time of application. Should a prospective student be offered admissions to the program, then an official transcript would be required at that time. But for the application, unofficial transcripts are accepted. There will also be 3 reference letters as a part of the application. If you are an international applicant, there are a few things you'll want to keep in mind for your application. The first being degree equivalencies. So if you have studied at a non-Canadian institution, your educational background will be assessed for equivalency at the University of Toronto. The second being the English language proficiency scores. So if your degree is from a university where the language of study is not English, you must complete a recognized English language proficiency test within the last 2 years before applying to the program. You will also need to think about a student study permit. So we always encourage international students to apply early to ensure they have sufficient time for review and securing a study permit. Our applications are currently open. We have an early entrance award application deadline on March 13th. And what this means is that if you apply by this deadline, and if you are accepted into the program, you are automatically considered for an early entrance award. Our international application fee is May 8th, and our domestic deadline is June 5th of this year. And just a few things to note about our admissions process is that all application and the supporting documents that I spoke to must be submitted by the application deadline listed here. So that includes all reference letters, transcripts, etc. We review applications on a rolling basis. So as we receive completed applications, we begin the review process. We conduct interviews and send offers as we receive applications, and there is a possibility of a second interview. There are a few ways to get involved and see what we do here at TRP. One being our Get Talking series, which is a healthcare discussion series with Adita. We have one coming up in February about dispelling myths around hospice and palliative care. If you are interested in attending, this is an in-person session at the St. George campus, and you're welcome to register through the QR code on the screen. We also run a Lunch and Learn series, which is online. Our next coming session is on March 18th on Health Economics Made Simple, Cost-Benefit Thinking for Better Care. You are all welcome to register as well if you're interested through the QR code on the screen. And thank you all for coming. So we'll open it up for questions from the group, and I'll leave up here on the screen ways to reach out to us and connect with us. Thank you.